Welcome to the show. I am Olive and very, very glad that you've chosen to wrap up your work week with us. We know that when it gets to Friday, there's a certain sense, I think it's mixed feelings. On the one hand, you're thinking, oh, I can't wait for the day to be over so that the weekend is officially upon us. I think I started to appreciate Fridays when I started to become a worker, because before, when I was a little more flexible, I didn't understand why people would be doing TGIF.
Like, what's so exciting
about TGIF? But when you worked, Monday through Friday, back to back, on Friday, you're just like, wow, my best day of the week, I can't wait.
And it's good, because I remember on Monday, we feel really energized or well-rested, and human beings need it. I mean, that's the way God designed us to operate.
I have a proposal,
God rested on the seventh day.
Were you thinking about which day God rested?
It's the seventh day.
I have a proposal. I think that will be a more productive society if we could alter our work weekdays and our weekends. So we have 4 weekdays, 3 weekends, as opposed to 5 weekdays, 2 weekends. So
I mean, some countries have proposed it, and they've seen that they get the best out of the work. They're more effective. And the Middle Eastern countries, for example, they work on Sunday.
If Fridays I become a member of the Legislative House, these are the kind of bills that I will push for. We should have productivity, and in a bid to encourage productivity, we want to do things that will make workers feel like they're not burnt out. They work from Monday to Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday is
and in Spain, they observe what you call siesta in the middle of the afternoon.
China too.
They take naps.
Yeah.
But I mean, 1 hour is too short for me.
No. Typically,
it might be too sweet, and you want to extend it.
Typically, when you check naps, there's a certain duration. Once it crosses that duration, it goes beyond the nap. In China, for example, I have a friend who works in China. Once it's that nap time, they're not stopping them for work or anything. People go, they have lounges, people go to lie down. She uses her nap time to then do walks. So her 1 hour exercise during the day, she gets it in.
Oh, that's really nice.
Absolutely.
But if we imbibe that culture here, it's just that so many people will end up in Bia Palo instead of taking their nap. But,
speaking about making life comfortable for workers in Abuja are protesting. Now, the NLC has, of course, the minimum wage is 70,000, but what we're seeing is that workers have down their tools, saying that they want the monies to be, reflected in their salaries. They had complained about, not having adequate representation or adequate financial representation, not being paid for months. And just to give you details of the stories, the public primary school teachers area councils, as well as medical staff at the primary healthcare centers across the 6 councils of the FCT are the ones who are protesting and asking for the implementation of the minimum.
I mean, these are teachers that are meant to impart knowledge on people that they're still very vulnerable, the kids. And imagine if you're not taking care of the welfare, the sort of quality education those children will be getting. It's just sad and heartbreaking that really this is actually coming from the FCT. The FCT minister is one who's known as a working and action minister, and it's quite unfortunate that this is really happening. But the fact that we're talking about it means it's going to get on the news and it will catch the attention of the FCT minister, and hopefully within the next few days they'll be able to do something about it. It's sacrilegious for you to owe anyone. And then it's even more sacrilegious for you to owe teachers. I
mean, there are 3 organizations here. We have Nigerian Union of Teachers, NUT, Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, NULGE, as well as National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwifery, NANAM. They're staging the massive protest blocking the entrance to the FCT main gate. But the reports here, we're hearing that it's not necessarily because the FCT minister hasn't made provision for this, that there has been provision made for this. So
why are they not
they say here that it's worrisome that the FCT minister Nyesom Wike released 4.1 billion naira to the 6 area council chairmen to pay the teachers minimum wage, but they didn't pay it, that they ate the money. So they are claiming that the money given to them, that's the council chairmen, are claiming that the money given to them was meant for the projects. But these people are saying, if you say this money were meant for the projects, what kind of projects are you doing in these area councils that is more important than the education of the children? Show us the projects. They complain about the state of the schools, the number of the schools are dilapidated. But let's take a listen to the video and hear what they're saying.
We are asking for our 40% peculiar increment of salary, our 35% increment of salary, our 25% increment of salary to be implemented, including also our annual increment.
As you see me now, I'm right. They should implement our minimum wage, 40% peculiar, 35% wage award, all the money they have put in the government workers because of as a result of subsidy removal. Teachers have not benefited in it, even 1 naira.
But also accused area council chairman of violating the memorandum of understanding.
We are asking for the area council chairman to implement our minimum wage. We are asking for our 40% peculiar increment of salary, our 35% increment of salary, our 25% increment of salary to be implemented, including also our annual.
You can see the passion is speaking with the anger, and they're so agitated that those local government chairmen that have allegedly chopped the money need to.
So you need to come and explain, though. What is the money for?
And it's not small money.
4.1 billion is a lot of money. I mean, it's just, unfortunately, we've seen this. This is not just something that we've seen happening with these teachers. Just yesterday, we took the strike with NYMET and how you know, a number of them were asking the same thing, saying that the minimum wage has not been reflected in their salaries and their remuneration. They say that their sister agencies, you know, are earning much more for the same job, and they have a very important job because it's largely it's largely connected to the safety of the planes and the birds in the air. So it's really sad. I think that agencies, parastatals, you know, need to start looking within.
Airpeace, for example, still talking about NYMET, has decided not to fly because they need those weather reports from NYMET. And other airlines, international airlines that rely on different apps, or they have their own ways of checking weather forecast, still flying on some domestic airlines. But something needs to be done about that urgently, and also the FCT Council. About
that one, the good news we have is that at least they've had a meeting with the federal government, and the Minister of Aviation had made some promises to NYMET to ensure that they will look into their complaints. So they've shelved the strike for now, meaning that maybe things will return to normal, flights will be business as usual. So in the next few days, there's a deadline. I think second week in March, I'll confirm the date. Then if their demands are not met or they're not seeing progress in that regard, they'll pick up the strike.
Before we move to our next story, by the way, I have a comment to pass on one of the protesters. Next time you're protesting, especially when you're protesting things like minimum wage, you might want to do without wearing designer hats.
Which designer hats?
She was dripping in Dior, didn't you see it? Dior, Dior. Christian Dior.
The Dior is not a reflection.
So they might think, you know, this woman is wealthy. She's doing very well. So
that's a valid argument.
Exactly. So when we want to protest, just be ordinary. Don't be dripping in Dior.
But we hope that, you know, this conversation will be looked into. The FCT minister, we know, like you said, has been termed a man of projects, a man of action. So I'm sure that he will kick in.
By the way, you look really nice. Are you also dripping in Dior?
No, I'm not dripping in Dior. Please take us through our next story.
Okay, wow, this is a very interesting one, and it's generated a lot of comments on social media, as expected. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency is proposing a drug integrity test for members and couples. So many people are, like most arguments in Nigeria, is polarized. It's either they die on this hill or that hill, and there's hardly a middle ground. And some have extended it. They said, look, apply to politicians, members of the Nigerian police, what have you. Couples, though.
Couples, I don't understand the part of couples. So if I want to get married today, normally you'd have certain tests that you run in the hospital. You know, you do your STDs, you do your genotype, blood group, and all the likes. And then the next thing, we will now do drug integrity tests to ensure that we're not into drugs.
Yes, because
before you get married.
There's a high level of divorce today, and people are fighting domestic violence is linked to maybe taking of drugs.
Like you said earlier, you know, many will say that this is a polarized, but nobody, like now, he who has nothing to fear, I mean, I have nothing to fear. If anybody walks in here to say they want to do a drug integrity test, I'm very happy for them to test me because they will not find anything incriminating. I'm clean. However, the National Association of Nigerian Students have responded to this, just like you did say earlier, that many people say it's polarized. Why are we focusing particularly just on couples and core members? They have said, we're very okay with this. Extend it to everybody. Let our leaders and our politicians also make sure that they're subjected to...
The Nigerian police?
Nigerian police, very importantly, are subjected to the drug integrity test, because at the end of the day, the argument for the leaders is because leadership starts from the top to the bottom. So leadership by example, if you're going to insist that the rest of the citizens have to undergo this mandatory test, then you also must be willing to subject yourself to this test. And that was a very interesting response, don't you think?
But do we have a video for NAS?
I think we have just if at all, the tweets. But maybe we should ask our audience what your thoughts are regarding, the subjecting of certain classes of individuals to a drug integrity test. They have said they will subject the core members. But I don't even know what brought core members into this conversation. What's the rationale behind this? These same core members that are giving up themselves.
I mean, it's just a means to frustrate people and create extra means for people to make money. Also, you have to start paying for drug tests here and there, and it's just making life. We have more important issues that are facing us. So I know there's a drug problem, but this compulsory testing, like you said, why, if you single out few sections of society, it's discriminatory. So let's test everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. Because even we don't even have I think it's called breathalyzers in Nigeria for drinking and driving.
So what about the alcohol problem, which is even more?
Yeah,
and access to alcohol is easier than access to drugs. People are driving, they're risking lives, drinking and driving. You should be more focused on that. And I mean, two things can be right at the same time. Exactly. If you want to do this drug test, make it holistic.
Exactly. I mean, I completely agree with the fact that I think that it's important. We do have a drug problem. We can't deny the fact that we have a drug problem.
But I wonder why, I mean, there's always a rational thinking behind every policy. Have core members been misbehaving?
I think that
or do they think the 77,000 they just gave them is a lot of money?
A little bit of drug. Like
and they might want to indulge.
To tithe and 10% to drugs. Maybe.
Because I don't understand.
Maybe we ask Benny to
look at the core member we have here, Benny. Yeah, very diligent and sweet
lovely
boy.
Man. Lovely young man. But just to say that I think that core members have sacrificed a lot for us as a nation. During NYSC, they're using core members to teach in schools. They're using core members to do really.
Now
they're
you
like
still want to test them for INEC, ad hoc staff.
Exactly.
For census.
Everything we use core members.
Come on. Core members need a break. They need to even increase that 77,000 to like 770K.
Wow.
That's what core members get in the UK.
In the UK. Anyway, we'll be moving on to a final update just to let you know that the court has okayed arrest and detention of 6 CBEX promoters. Recall that a number of Nigerians had unfortunately lost thousands and millions of money to the fraudulent scheme CBEX, where they were guaranteed 100% interest within a certain number of days. Unfortunately, CBEX packed up and there were tons of Nigerians going to their office in the Gbenga axis, complaining, crying. And even there was some, I think they had started to try to demolish their office in Ibadan as well. We had a conversation on the show, talked about SEC and SEC's response to the CBEX fraud. EFCC had also come out to say that they had listed a number of fraudulent schemes, and one of them was CBEX, basically saying to Nigerians, you should have done your due diligence. But people are saying, no, CBEX had a registered office. They looked like they had every markings of a properly registered company and a company that is running, proper legit business. But yes, just to also mention that, after this then birthed the conversation about those influencers and celebrities who use their platforms to promote certain schemes. I will see them all the time in different industries. I'm an influencer myself, so
but you do your due diligence before
I have
you
brands
put
that
your
have
name
come to me
behind a brand.
I have brands that come to me that I don't, I'm like, I thank you very much for this opportunity. However, what you're selling doesn't align with my brand. And I don't think I'll be the best person to sell what I don't believe in. So I think that also it's a wake-up call to influencers and public figures to know that money is great, but there are certain things that I don't believe in.
And some of these guys, in fairness to the CBEX promoters, like the way they'll bring about this plan, we're registered, the FCC knows about us, the Security and Exchanges Commission knows about us, and these influencers want to make a quick buck or two, and then but this is beyond even influencers. I think these are promoters from within CBEX that are trying to get more people.
Yeah.
So they have answers. They have serious answers questions
to answer. I mean, yes, I completely agree with you that the same way the Nigerian populace were fooled into thinking that CBEX was a legit enterprise, it's how some of these influencers could have easily been fooled, and these promoters as well.
A friend of mine, not an associate of mine, not even, that one is making it worse, an acquaintance, reached out to me about CBEX last year. Do you think it qualifies for arrest?
He reached out to you to try to poach you.
But because I'm a wise man.
And you're a content man.
And I'm content. I don't have
this person that reached out to you, was he a part of the CBEX?
No, just an ordinary citizen that was doing it.
No, I don't
and he was doubling his money. So he thought, since I like this guy, I also want him to share in this happiness.
What kind of acquaintances do you have, Gbenga?
I mean, he didn't know anybody can fall for it. He's like one of those victims in Gbenga, and now he's crying.
Did he lose money?
Of course.
Oh, my goodness.
But of course, he lost.
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
Oh, our hearts really goes out to people.
If you did CBEX, maybe you'll be dripping in Dior and Balenciaga.
Well, thankfully, I did not. And just to, again,
you can still drip in Dior and Balenciaga.
I don't need to use this. Lagos Island has Dior. Lagos Island has Balenciaga. In Lagos Island, there's Lagos Island version. Cut your coat according to your cloth. I'm just joking, no. But please, absolutely, we do not in any way, shape, or form encourage fraud, encourage people trying to look for. Like we say, if it is too good to be true, it's definitely too good to be true. So even while CBEX is going on, we got reports that there was another one that come up, in fact, that they had said to people that the account is not yet completely down, but you need to pay an access fee because we're trying to get... And people were paying more. They created a Telegram group.
And then the FCC too is not helping matters by promising that, you get your money back. You're not getting your money back. It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
Otilo.